Hi, I'm Bridget, and thank you so much for joining me this morning for 10 minutes of yoga to start your day. And we're going to get started today on all fours in our tabletop. So stacking the shoulders above the wrists, the hip points above the knees, and then pressing down into the tops of the feet. So give yourself a moment to just set yourselves up here. Flatten out through the spine, draw the shoulders away from the ears. So a nice long line from the top of the head all the way down to the tailbone, pressing down into all 10 fingerprints, all 10 knuckles. So we're spreading the fingers really nice and wide here. And then we'll move through a few rounds of our cat-cow to warm up our spine. So on an inhale, start to curl the tailbone up, drop through the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades back, looking forward. And exhale, we curl the tailbone under, start to round through the spine and drop the top of the head down towards our mat. Inhale, we curl the tailbone up, drop the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades back. And exhale, we round through the spine. Seeing if you can sync the movement up with the breath here. So breathing really nice and slowly. We're moving really nice and slowly here this morning. Nice and strong through the arms. You might like to move the hips a little bit from side to side, stretching out through side body. And then we're moving with the breath. We'll take one more breath here, moving through our cat-cow. And then bringing the spine back to center, draw the shoulders away from the ears. We're going to move into our downward facing dog. So walking the hands forward just an inch or two, we tuck the toes under and then press to lift our knees away from the mat. Send the hips back, pressing the chest towards the tops of the thighs, pedaling out through the feet. So dropping one heel and then the other, finding a little bit of movement. Nice and strong through the arms, creating a little bit of space between the shoulders and the ears. You might like to come up onto your tippy toes, bending into the knees as much as you need to here. Nice and active through the core. So hugging the lower ribs down towards the hips, flattening out through the spine. And then we're going to open up through the backs of the legs a little bit more. So let's drop down through the left heel. Inhale, reach the right foot up towards the sky into our three-legged dog. Level out the hips. And then exhale, shifting forward into your plank pose and hugging that right knee in towards the chest. Holding here for a breath. And then inhale back to our three-legged dog. Exhale, we hug that knee in towards the chest, shifting forward onto the hands, and then see if you can step that right foot forward between the hands. Finding your lunge here, finding a little bit of space through the chest, so draw the shoulders back. You might like to see if you can lift the hands away from your mat just for a moment. And then we're going to find our pyramid pose. So we're going to step that left foot in a little bit here and then straighten out through both legs. We've got both feet pointing forward here. You might like to turn those left toes out a little bit. And then we're going to bring the hands to the hips and start to flatten out through the spine. Breathing nice and deeply into the back of that right leg. See if you can level out the hips. You might notice that that left hip wants to open up a little bit here. We're going to keep it drawing forward. Nice and strong through the legs and nice and strong through the upper body here as well. Breathing into the core. And then we'll bring both hands back down to our mat and we're going to step it back into our plank pose, holding here for one nice long deep breath, seeing if you can really slow it down as you breathe in through the nose and exhale out through the nose. And then we'll drop the knees down, lower the chest all the way down to our mat and inhale, find your heart opener. Lifting up through the chest, pressing down into the tops of the feet. We squeeze the shoulder blades back. And then exhale the chest all the way back down. We press back up through our tabletop and then find our downward facing dog. Again, pedal out the feet here, so find a little bit of movement. Dropping one heel and then the other. We're pressing the chest back, bending into the knees. And then when you're ready, we'll drop down through the right heel. Inhale, three-legged dog. So lift that left foot up, level out through the hips. And then exhale, shift the weight forward on the hands. We hug that left knee in towards the chest. And inhale, send it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, squeeze that left knee in towards the chest and seeing if you can step that left foot forward between the hands. Find your lunge here, draw the shoulders back, find a little bit of space through the chest. Maybe seeing if you can lift those fingertips away from the mat for just a moment. Breathing into this stretch, nice and slowly, finding stillness. And then we'll make our way into our pyramid pose. So step that right foot in a little bit, and then we start to straighten out through both legs. Both feet are pointing forward here. You might like to turn those right toes out just a little bit here, just to help you balance. And then powering up through the core, we lift the chest up halfway and then bring the hands to the hips. So you can keep a nice little bend through that left leg. Sending the breath to the back of the legs. Nice and strong through the legs and nice and strong through the upper body. Keep those shoulders drawing away from the ears. So we're really flattening out through the spine. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the hands back down to the mat and then walk the feet back into our plank pose. One nice deep breath here. Nice and slowly in through the nose. And exhale, let it out. And then we'll drop the knees down towards our mat. Lower the chest down. Inhale, find your heart openness, so pressing into the palms. We lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades back, press into the tops of the feet. And exhale, we lower and we'll make our way back into our child's pose. So keeping the big toes together, we've got the knees together and then sink the hips down towards the heels. You can either reach the arms out nice and long in front of you, or you might like to bring them to the side, relaxing through the shoulders, closing down the eyes, just enjoying this moment of stillness. Maybe going for a little rock from side to side. You might like to stay here in your child's pose for a few more rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, we'll make our way up to seated. So whatever seated position feels most comfortable for you today. Sitting up nice and tall when you get there and closing down the eyes. On an exhale, let the shoulders drop away from the ears. Letting the breath slow down even more. And then before we close our practice, we'll just take a little side body stretch here. So we'll plant the right palm. You can keep the eyes closed down here if you would like, or just gently blink them open. So we'll plant the right palm. Inhale, reaching up and over with the left hand. Nice and gentle here, so we're not forcing anything, just finding a nice gentle stretch. Coming back to center, we plant the left palm and inhale, reaching up and over to the left side. Breathing into the right side body, really nice and gentle here. We're keeping the knees drawing down. Keeping the breath moving. And then coming back to center, come back to stillness, or maybe closing down the eyes if they're not already. Nice and tall through the spine. And then we'll close our practice here this morning in seated. Thank you so much for joining me for your practice today, and I hope you have an amazing day ahead of you. We'll bring the hands together at heart space and bow through the head. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.